welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to talk about, has Bitcoin done something it's never done before? I do not recall ever seeing this happen before. Maybe it has. And maybe some of you viewers out there can point out a time historically when it has happened before. What I'm going to be talking about, well, you're about to find out, so stay tuned. We're going to look at the charts. We're going to look at a bunch of news items. And, of course, before we do all of that, you know what I'm going to say? Smash that like button. This does help get this channel out to more people and does help to support the channel. And, of course, thank you for all the kind, encouraging words that you'll leave in the comments section. I do really appreciate that. That does really help support the channel and support the algorithm. And of course, those of you who ask questions in the comments section, I do get back to those as soon as I am able to. However, if you'd like more immediate engagement with me, you can find me in the Stocks with Josh Discord. Now, where is that found? I'm so glad you asked. If you click below in the description, you might need to click the more button. It will pop open the description. There's a couple of links there how you can get started and join me there in the Discord. I'm in the crypto channel there daily with some of the most amazing people on the planet. As there's a stocks channel in there, there's a meme coin channel, there's a whole bunch of other channels in there, including my own Crowned Traders channel that I have in there. And I share education, insights, resources, some of my trade setups, and of course, entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? Okay, and of course, below as well, there's a bunch of other links and resources below that Discord, including my X handle there, so check that out. Okay, so what are we looking at as far as, has this ever happened before? James Van Straten says this is mental to watch on the hourly time frame. I did sleep through most of this, by the way, so I did miss this epic pump. 14 green candles on the hourly for Bitcoin. Never seen anything like this before. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Has this ever happened in Bitcoin's history ever before? Why don't you let me know in the comments if you've seen this before and when did this happen before? Now, what does this mean more importantly? Because, you know, we do have other news items, negative funding rates across the board. And if you've been watching my channel since late May, you know that negative funding is usually a buy the dip scenario. And who could have shared some great levels to get in on Bitcoin and some altcoins yesterday? I shared my 10 top holdings, well, my 11 top holdings actually, and I shared entries on many of those. And those were entries that I took and I did buy the dip. Now, you might say, well, is the bottom in? Well, the bottom may not be in yet. This might be a local bottom. We might have a bit of a bounce and then come even lower than that. But as you know, if you've been a watcher of this channel, and I really don't like saying this comment, and I know you really don't like hearing it, but you all remember it, is those who try to pick bottoms often get smelly fingers. And so I'm not trying to pick the exact bottom. And if this does turn out to be the bottom, then I have accurately bought the dip. Now, if we have a bit of a bounce, we might come down a little bit lower, and I have some buy orders a little bit lower, as shown on my video yesterday. If you haven't watched my video from yesterday, I shared my top 10 projects, top 11 actually, because it included Bitcoin, but my top 10 altcoins, and I gave buy levels, and some of those buy levels were current, some of those buy levels that needed to come a bit deeper for me, okay, and some of the buy levels I wanted to see a little bit of a trend reversal before I bought. So make sure you check out that video there. Okay, and then we also have here Wrecked Capital talking about a double bottom, and this is what I wanted to see yesterday. I said yesterday in the Discord that I wouldn't have a problem with Bitcoin putting its low around 90K because that would mean a double bottom. Now, it came very close to my target of 90K. I had given an 85 to 89K, which I adjusted to 85 to 90K because one of the key moving averages had peaked up into 90K there, okay? And so maybe we have found the bottom for January. Maybe this is the January low. This is the lowest price that it was at in January on January the 9th, okay? So mark that in your calendar. That could possibly be the low for January, and that could be it. We may just chop sideways for a little bit. We're going to look in the charts for a little bit more. Rick Capital goes on to say that he thinks that it's just going to occupy this 91 to 101 range until further notice, and it really does look like that's a strong possibility. Again, we're going to look at the charts in just a moment. And Kyle Dupes here shows the short-term holder. This is a sad chart in my opinion. These are weak hands that sold red candles. These are obviously not people who watch tribal trades or part of the tribal trades community, because on this community, we buy the fear, we buy the dips, we buy the red candles, we panic sell the red, we panic buy the red candles, and we panic sell the green candles. We panic when there's greed. We sell when there's greed. We're fearful when others are greedy, and we're greedy when others are fearful. And this is not what happened here. People who have been holding Bitcoin for a short period of time are like, oh no, I'm selling at a loss, it's going to zero, and sold. And so ignore the noise and focus on the signals. This could be an accumulation moment. And I did accumulate more Bitcoin. I accumulated more Bitcoin at 94,000, 93, and I think at 92,000, I scooped up a little more Bitcoin, and I scooped up some other altcoins as shared on my show yesterday. Okay, while others were crying, I was buying. Okay, that's another new tribal trades motto, tribal tribalism. Tribal trade there. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's too early this morning. But as we go on here, but be warned, because Silicone is not so bullish, and there is a head and shoulders. It's a little ugly in my opinion. It's a little ugly. I don't like the ugly ones. I actually tend to think they don't play out. They're just, oh, they're ugly. I don't like it. It's a little bit of an ugly one. But, you could make the case there's multiple shoulders there, for example. This one didn't play out at all. So there was a fairly ugly head and shoulders, but see this right shoulder here, that didn't play out. That absolute went the wrong way. So this may not play out. But he's saying if it does play out, we're coming down into that buy zone of around that 88, 87K level. I want to know what you think there, because I ran a poll here on X about the Bitcoin January correction, and I actually put this in when Bitcoin was about 94K. So everybody who voted that the bottom was in was wrong on this poll, but I'm doing a new poll. I want you to reply to this and let me know, is now the bottom in at 91? Or are we going to see it go to 85 to 90K region, which had been originally what I had stated? Or is there going to be a lower bottom down to that 78 to 80K region? Okay. So again, I'm still sticking with my 85 to 90, but I'm starting to, there is a probability, of course, that 91K was close enough and that was it. And that's about a 15% correction, by the way. So that could quite be possible that we have seen that in. Okay, so let me know what your thoughts are. Yeah, well, either reply there on X or reply here on YouTube. If you're not logged in, just type in the comments there. I think the bottom's in already, or I think we're going lower. I think we're going much lower. I want to hear your thoughts and what you think. Now, remember, we do have the inauguration coming on January the 20th. And of course, we do have the first ETFs that were bought on January 11th, I believe it was, will be available to sell, minus them having to pay capital gains tax, mind you. And are they going to cash in and say, hey, now I can sell it with no capital gains tax, January 11th, 12th, all those early buyers? Are we going to see one final dive down before the inauguration there. And of course, we do feel that the inauguration is going to bring a very pro-crypto administration that is going to come in. Now, stay tuned, because over the weekend, I am going to share my top 10 predictions for 2025. And I'm also going to share when I feel the Bitcoin top is going to be in. I'm actually going to put a month on it. I'm actually going to dial it in, and I've scoured and with hours of research on what typically has been the top signals, and I'm going to share all these different top signals, and then we're going to converge on a date and a price. So that's coming up over the weekend, so stay tuned for that. So 2 incredible shows coming up over on Saturday and Sunday there. Okay, so let's look at the charts very quickly here, and as you can see, we had a bearish engulfing candle here, and this was just a big warning sign that we were more than likely going to go down, and down we did, and we did take out the December low. So the inverse head and shoulders crowd, I'm sorry, that got invalidated. That was in play for a little while. I didn't really think that that was going to play out. Just like, is this head and shoulders going to play out here? It's a little bit of an ugly one there, but we'll see. We will see. Okay, so what we've got here is we have taken out this low of December, but we still haven't taken out this low from early the December, the 5th of December, which is sitting at 90,500, and we may not. We may not. This could have been it, folks. This could have been it. This could have been your opportunity to buy the dip, and hopefully that you did, because you don't want to be buying up here. We want to be selling up here and buying down here. All along since November, if you'd bought here, sold here, bought here, sold some more here, bought here, sold here, bought here, sold there, you probably could have retired by now. And so it's really just understanding, buy the fear. While others are crying, you should be buying. Buy the red candles, buy the fear, buy the dips, panic buy the dips. Panic buy the dips. Too often, I see my YouTube feed and my Discord feed comes alive after coins have pumped 200, 300%. Oh, should I be buying now? No, you should not be buying now unless it's just a just-in-case bag buy, of course, which is a small nibble of about 20 to 25% of your budget on a coin, just in case it drops and you can buy lower, or just in case it bumps and you got some skin in the game. And so that's really, when you look at it, the market ranges more than it trends. And this is why I have a hodl and a swing bag, so that I can just make money on my swing bag all along here while not touching my hodl bag, because I do believe the bull market is not open and over, and we're going into the parabolic phase. So let's look at Bitcoin dominance and see how that is affecting the altcoin market there. And kind of steady as you goes, it's still a little bit bullish. So we are creating a little bit of a, above all these moving averages there. So that's quite bullish for Bitcoin, and still a little bit bearish for alt. So just stay tuned on that one. We'll talk about that more in the altcoin show. But let's jump into the liquidation levels. What have we got here to follow the yellow brick road? Follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And if you're new to the channel, I would encourage you checking out my cheat sheet, just found in the Discord. It's also found in the description of a much older video back in November. Check that out. That's free for you. And you'll learn how to use the Bitcoin cheat sheet, aka the yellow brick road. And so what we have here is we do have these liquidation levels down here at 91,000 and at 93,000. And let's go to the 24-hour range. There is a little bit above, but mostly it's below at 91,000 again. We're below, so most of the immediate shorter term, but we do go to the 48-hour time frame, and there is hope. There is hope at 95. However, we did come and take that 95 out already. We came down, we took out some of these liquidation levels lower, and then we've come up. And are we now going to take that out? If I'm the market maker, I come up and grab that at 95,800. There's 82 million there. I feel like that's a no-brainer, but we'll see. Sometimes the market makers just like to fake out. As you push out to the longer time frames, we do see at 95,800, there's 106 million. And all the way up at 99, there's another 40 million up there. Let's push it out to the weekly time frame here. And you can see there is a lot of levels building up above. And so you can see I do think we're going to see a return to these levels up above, up 103, 104,000, 99,000. There is a lot of liquidation up there. Even as we zoom out to the monthly time frame now, we do see the brightest level at 103,000. There is 179 million sitting up there. So I think that's too tasty for the market makers to ignore. And we'll jump out to one more time frame, which is the 3-month time frame there. And you can see that the biggest level on the 3-month time was a whopping 278 million that is sitting at 90K. And I do also look at on other exchanges. That's just one exchange, Binance, because they're the biggest, but Bybit is also worth looking at, because you can see there's some even lower at 86,400. There's 138 million. So be warned that we could see a final shakeout before the breakout there. So if we come back to the charts here, and we'll finish up here, this really could just lead us to a little bit more sideways chop. So and look, if we were to come down and had a final flush out down to these levels here, and look, this 100-day moving average is moving up all the time. It's 85, it was 84 yesterday. And so between now and the inauguration, this could well be up around this 87, 88K level. So a little bit of a flush down. We do have, listen, this is a bit of I want to see how this candle closes. If we close above here, then we will almost engulf here. Now, obviously, the body of this candle is pretty close, but that would be quite a bullish candle to close. So I want to see that. But just remember, if you look on the weekly time frame, it is very bearish still. That is a very bearish rejection there, especially because we have one up here. Now we have another one here as well. But we do have a nice little wick down there as well. And that just all leads me to kind of flow along with what Rec Capital was saying, that we're just seeing a little bit of a sideways market here until we're ready to break out. And so anytime we come down to these low 90s areas or even high 80s, if we were to get back there, we haven't been there since November, but you can see there's a cluster of support down there around this area here. Back in early November, we even this wick down here that we came down to 87, sorry, it was 85. I wouldn't be surprised if we came down and filled some of this down here. So this would then come down and hit the 100. So I'm still thinking that the bottom for January may not yet be in, okay? It may be in, but I'm still leaning towards the most likely scenario that we are going to see a little bit more downside in January before we pop off post-inauguration. And usually by Super Bowl Sunday, mark that in your calendar, the market is in full flight, and then that's just the last little of ignition as it pops off into a parabolic February and March timeframe, okay? So that's what I'm thinking, very similar along these lines, that these are just areas to buy the dip. Every time we've come down here, I've bought the dip, and then every time we've come up here, I have sold the pumps. And this is where my hodl bag and my swing bag strategy has been golden for me, and I have really encouraged that. I even do training videos on that, splitting the portfolio up. I have Sui hodl in one portfolio, and I have a Sui swing position in another. And the Sui hodl, I can just keep waiting because I think that's going to go to $25 in 2025, and I haven't sold one single Sui from that hodl bag, yet I have sold many, many, many times on the Sui swings, for example, okay? And so that's what I'm thinking here. In the short term, yes, we do see some more liquidity to the downside. So I actually think we've been rejected here at 95. And that would kind of make sense because that's around about halfway in the middle of our range, okay? And I'll actually probably mark that as a middle portion of the range. So if we've got the bottom of the range at 90 and the top of the range at around about 100, the middle of the range is going to be around that 95,000 level. And so it looks as though we're trading in the bottom of this range. So I actually would expect Bitcoin to continue to trade between 90 and 95,000 in the bottom half of this range. And then once we see a break above 95 and a retest, then that's where we can start trading in the top part of this range. And you can trade range to range. So you can buy at 90 and sell at 95. You don't have to wait till it gets all the way up to 100K. And you can also buy at 95 and sell at 100, and you can trade the top part of that range. I do have a full education video on that in my cheat sheet under the education tab, where you can learn exactly how to do that. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. And as always, until the next episode, happy trading.